And hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever edition of the Turnbuckle Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, Matt Hewitt, alongside today, the Blue Chipper, the Day Tripper, the Lime Ripper himself, one of the world's foremost fantasy baseball experts, Steve Mutzu. Steve, how's it going?
Hell of an introduction. Hell of an introduction.
What we're going to talk about today is creating your offense in fantasy baseball, specifically on our favorite fantasy baseball website, imaginesports.com, the place to be, the only place to go to play fantasy baseball. We're going to talk about such things today as selecting your players for your team, selecting your starting nine, selecting your batting order, and a whole bunch more. A lot of stuff. Steve knows exactly what he's talking about. He's been successful in fantasy baseball as long as I can remember, probably going on 20 to 30 years now. He beats me all the time. And so, quite frankly, I'm looking to learn a little bit today, just like the rest of you guys are. So, Steve, whenever you're ready to take away, let's get started about selecting our offense here.
All right. And you go to the cash worksheet. It's where you want to start at in the cash worksheet. You don't want to mess around with that free agent, whatever that thing is. That is pretty useless. So you want to go to the cash worksheet. And then you want to set up your search criteria, something like this. Average versus left, on base percentage, all the splits left and right, run and injury. If you're playing in an injury league. Now, if you're looking for a second baseman or something, you might want to change this to fielding at second base. But right now, we're not worried about fielding at all. We're just talking about offense. So it should look something like this. I like when I've selected a player to play full-time, I want him to have a good OPS on both against right and left. I even prefer, like if my guy's right-handed, I prefer him to be better against right-handed. I just think that's a big help. Like if I have a right-hander with a reverse platoon split, I really like that. That's a big, big help.
What is a reverse platoon split, Steve?
That's if a left-handed batter hits left-handed pitchers pitching better. That's a revert. Because normally a left-handed batter will hit right-handed batter. That's just normal. Sometimes it's different. It's usually not different lefty on lefty. That's a lot harder. But right-handers a lot of time, I pick a lot. Sometimes I have teams with nothing but right-handers because it's a good way to go, honestly. When I do that, people think I'm put a hand behind my back or something. But what I'm really doing is cheating because it helps me win. That's why
I can attest to this. I've played in a few leagues against Steve where he's only won or he's only been right-handers, pitchers and hitters, and he's won 2 back-to-back World Series doing it. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it really works. It's a pretty good strategy. The reverse split thing. I like my players to do that. I mean, wouldn't you say it's late in the game and the sim manager's going to bring in a reliever, and this guy set his right-handed guy to come in against right-handers. Well, they're bringing in the right-hander to face exactly what I want. It's like playing into my hands when you do that. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. I adopt that philosophy often too. When I'm selecting my team sometimes, a lot of guys do this. A lot of guys don't. I like to have specialists on my team, bullpen left-handed specialists, bullpen right-handed specialists. And also I like to have a couple of guys that just kind of come off the bench, platoon every once in a while just to face a right-handed batter or just to face a left-handed batter. It works for me every once in a while.
Yeah, that's not a bad strategy at all. I don't see any problem with that. I kind of like a small bench and a huge pitching staff because everybody knows I don't spend any money on pitching.
Right.
I don't care about those guys.
I'm kind of the opposite, and I try to find a happy medium with mine. But the results, the proof is in the pudding, if you will, with the results and your success. So one thing I will also throw in here is that, yes, what Steve started, this is the cash worksheet page, and you will basically live in this page. When I was a noob on Imagine Sports, I realized pretty quick that the cash worksheet was virtually where I could do everything in there. Searching players, looking at splits, if they're good against righties or lefties, fielding, running, everything. The cash worksheet, you will live a lot inside of this page.
And you can pick a guy by the year Like, say, if you're just looking for 1912 or just looking for the Atlanta Braves, you could also do that. A lot of leagues are that way.
And scroll back up there, Steve, to the salary report. A lot of times you're in mid-season. You've only got so much cash, and you need somebody. You can break it down by salary. Man, I've only got $2 million to spend, and I need a second baseman in the worst way right now to play the rest of the year. You can narrow down your search that way, and you'll be able to find a player a whole lot quicker that way. I do that quite often because I'm out of money a lot.
Yeah, you definitely want to have something like this with all the splits. If you don't have the splits, you're probably not going to be picking your players to the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
You definitely want to look at run too. I mean, look, they're poor right there. I mean, I'm not going to throw a guy to the curb because he can't run fast, but I prefer X. I prefer to be able to run fast. It makes a big difference. I'd say each band of this. So this poor guy probably cost me 6 runs a year, but this excellent guy probably gives me 6 runs a year. And an average guy's like 0. So you can basically say 3 runs per band of run rating. That's why I just use 3. It's probably 2.5 or 3.6 or whatever. I just use 3 because it's easy. Nice. A lot of things like that I use round whole numbers because it's easy.
And we're probably going to talk a little bit about the metrics and sabermetrics, if you will, maybe a little bit in this first one. And we'll definitely have some in-depth episodes on that later down the road as well.
What do you want to look at or talk about next? You want to go to batter ratings? There's not much.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk a little bit about this.
Run is the biggest deal here. I don't really. If you're one of those guys that like to steal, this is important to you. What this means to me is never. This also means never. I might give this a 5 or a 4. I don't know. It doesn't even really matter here. At best, this guy's going to steal 10 bases a year or something. Not that many. I don't care about that stuff. This is the only one that really matters to me is run. None of this matters. This is all never. No, we don't want to bunt. Bunting is for suckers. Don't bunt.
I kind of look at bunting as giving away outs. I don't like to give away outs. I don't like to take I don't like to swing at 3-0 pitches. I don't like to squeeze bunt. I don't like to bunt. I don't like to give outs or give opportunities to get on base away.
Speaking of that, this is most frequent. If somebody on my team swings at a 3-0 pitch, there's a sniper in center field that will shoot him dead.
What is this?
Does not happen.
What is this page, Steve? And tell us how to get there.
This is your team instructions for off. Well, this is the offensive part, since that's what we're talking about today. This is how I usually set them. Here, bunting, never and never. I just don't give away outs. Squeeze bunting. I like to watch it on the play-by-play, so if it happens once in a great while, there you go.
I made it to the World Series in our last league on a squeeze bunt play. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that.
And I also had a triple play in that game. So 2 rarities in one game. That was pretty awesome. Some of the exciting things you could see when you watch your games live in Imagine Sports, when you turn safe mode on, which is something a lot of you guys would probably have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, base running, I don't want to run into outs. So even if my guy is fast, even if I have – a lot of players make this mistake. I have an excellent rated runner, Willie Mays or something. So they set him to 1. But that just pushes him to run into outs. You don't want that. You want him to make it every single time. It's way better if he makes it 10 out of 10 than 50 out of 70. It's better to make it 10 out of 10 than 50 out of 70. People make that mistake a lot. That's even with stolen bases or pretty much anything. You want to make it every time. You don't want to – you watch the play-by-play. Don't you hate to see your guys getting thrown out at home?
All the time.
I don't see that.
And a lot of times what you'll have to take into effect too is you're going to want to scout your teams. And you can very easily do that while you're in a league with the scouting tab. And you can look at the teams that you're playing. And especially if your team that runs a lot, you're going to want to look at their outfield arms, because if they're a good arm in the outfield, you have a good chance of getting thrown out. So those are something you want to pay attention to as well.
This is a completed league. This is the team offensive page of the completed league. Now, I play in Coors most of the time. I like if I'm not playing in Coors, I'm playing in Baker Bowl or Wrigley. I like offense. The more things happen, the more chances I have to win. This is my opinion. I don't know if this one's fact or not, but if you get a low run scoring environment and less things happen, that gives you more chance for luck. I play in a big run scoring environment where more things happen, and that weeds out the luck. I don't like luck being involved. I want to win. I don't want somebody beating me on luck, somebody sneaking into the playoffs with 78 wins like somebody I know just recently did.
Yes, and I've made it to the World Series.
Yeah, and I didn't in that league. I did not make it.
Yeah, and didn't work out too well for me. The Reds completely destroyed me and swept me, as they should have, because they're an amazing team. The league he's talking about is we're playing a rookie progression league, which we started in 1973 when the DH started, and we basically managed the franchise from 1973 all the way through current day. And it's pretty awesome. You guys should check that out sometime. So what else are we looking at here, Steve?
We can just talk about some basic philosophies in offense, or maybe how we set our lineups. Generally speaking, let me go to the lineup page here.
Which you'll find your lineups under the dugout tab on your My Teams page.
Sorry if I'm moving too fast through that.
That's all right. I got your back.
Dugout, batting lineups. Okay. Traditionally, you'd see somebody batting first, like a Willie McGee or something, a fast guy doesn't strike out a lot, maybe steal some bases. I do not do that. I want a good hitter hitting first. This may not be – it's hard to say with this lineup because this is a single season lineup. Marlon Byrd was probably not the best hitter on this of all these guys, but he was this year, so he's batting second for me. Colby Rasmus is batting third for me, but only against right-handers. He's a platoon player. He can't hit lefties. This guy here, my cleanup hitter, traditionally you like a big home run hitter guy there. I like a high average guy that's going to get a lot of hits because I'm going to have guys on base, and I want them to come in. I want them to get a lot of high average. I don't want to have a guy hitting a home run every, with a 230 batting average with a lot of home runs. That's great. I'd rather have that guy hitting here. I love that kind of player. But I don't like that kind of player batting cleanup. I prefer a guy batting cleanup who's more a high average, a lot of doubles. If he hits home runs, great. If you give me Albert Pujols everywhere, I'll take that. But Albert Pujols without the power, batting cleanup, I'll take that too. I mean, if the guy hits 10 home runs, I'll still do that. Remember when Tommy Herd did it? Got 110 RBIs? Yeah.
Excellent. So basically what you're saying is your recommendation would be to put your best hitter second in your lineup.
My best hitter is second. My next best OBP or best OBP if he doesn't have any power, nothing bats first. This is where your best OBP guy goes, unless he's your best hitter.
Okay.
Then your best OBP guy goes here. Third place isn't that. I mean, a lot of people say this is where you put your best hitter. This position, you put a good hitter here. Not the best one, and then not this guy, but the guy in the middle of those guys. This hitter should be better than this hitter. That's just the way it works out best mathematically. And you could go search anywhere on the internet and probably find something that'll say that. High average, though. Lots of hits. You don't want a guy that strikes out, walks, or hit home runs. So you don't want Jack Clark batting right here, or Adam Dunn, or any of those guys. They're better off here. Then just, basically after that, next best hitter, next best hitter, next best hitter, and so on. From basically 5 down, it's just the next best guy. It's not as important.
This is all good stuff, Steve, and this is all stuff that you've taught me throughout the years and that I've used successfully as well. So I can see the results of this firsthand, and I can attest to them, not just because we're sitting here talking on a podcast, but because I went from a ham and egger to making it to the World Series pretty quick in my league, and everybody was shocked at the results. It's because I've listened to these I get free tutorials on this from Steve all the time, but now we're excited to be able to bring this stuff to you. because we want to attract more attention to the website. We want to attract more players, and we want it to be more competitive as well. We want to educate the masses out there on how to do exactly this, and it makes it more fun for all of us when everybody's performing well. What else can you tell us about? Is there anything else can you add to creating your offense at this point, since we've talked about selecting your team and lineups? Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap things up today?
Basically, don't run into outs. Don't give away outs or run into outs. Outs are important. Don't waste them at all. Don't get thrown out at third. Don't get thrown out trying to steal second. None of that stuff. Keep your runners on base and then hit a home run and score 3 runs. That is the way to do it. You don't want to be trying to steal second, and now it's a 1 out and nobody on. We're way better off with that guy staying on first. Power is always king. If you got a choice between a 15 homer 30 double guy or a 30 homer 15 double guy, take the 30 homer guy every single time. Homers are instant runs. They're the best. They're the way to go. That's a lot of my lineup philosophy right there. Don't run into outs, hit homers. Try to not get caught with where you can't beat somebody from one side of the plate. Right now I'm in the World Series where I'm trying to win this 24-man league 3 times in a row, but I can't hit right-handers in that league. And everybody knows it. And even though this guy's ace is left-handed, he's sitting on the bench, so I can't win. It's not great. I'm down 0-2 right now.
And that's exactly what we're talking about this whole time. What to pay attention to in those regards, when to bring in a reliever in those situations, when to bring in a pinch hitter. Knowing all those stats and all that information Steve gave us today, you'll be able to use those tools to be able to do all those things effectively. So
pay attention to splits. To splits. Don't give away outs. Hit home runs.
Exactly. So I think that's a pretty good start, pretty good first tutorial for us today. If you guys like what you heard on this one, please do check us out on YouTube. We're pretty new to this thing here, so we've only got a couple subscribers so far. This is our first video. So it would be great if you guys would click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. Share us with your friends. You're going to see a lot more content from us on a wide variety of topics. We do shows about pro wrestling, sports entertainment, MMA, fantasy baseball. We've got a bunch of different types of episodes and content and entertaining stuff we're going to do for you guys. So I guess that's the end of today's video. We're going to come back with another one next time. Maybe the next video will be focused on defense next time.
Defense is everybody's biggest hole.
It is. And defense was something that's burned me a lot in the past, but now that I'm paying attention to it a lot more, I'm winning a lot more games. It makes a big difference. So until the next video, this is the Turnbuckle Sports Network saying adios.